And now back to your regular programming.
If you speak better to yourself.
You showed up for probably the dumbest conversation we've ever had on this show.
Let's have that smile again.
Tell me how that happens. Physically should not happen.
Relax.
If you say it
Give me as well.
3 times a day, God will line it up.
He's just an absolute hack, and he gets his ass kicked by his teammates every week. It's just terrible.
Welcome back to Hack City. Joe DeLeone, Sean Anderson. Are we good?
We should be.
That was very
I don't know
abrupt.
what happened there.
I guess StreamYard gave up on us. StreamYard sucks. Joe DeLeone, Sean Anderson, 2 former college football players from the University of Rhode Island. Today, we are going to be talking about Russell Wilson signing with my New York Giants. Browns possibly have moves on the way, 2 of which one substantiated. We'll get to those. And then Stefon Diggs was signed by the New England Patriots. All that coming up and more. Before we get there, though, Sean, do the read.
Bet online, that's where you need to be placing all your March Madness action. Doesn't matter if your bracket's busted, Joseph. Is your bracket busted?
I haven't been checking.
What do you mean you haven't been checking?
I've just been placing bets.
Okay.
Oh, screw you.
Oh,
All right,
now
right.
it's
Screw
looping.
you.
See, that
Screw
was
you.
unnecessary.
You're
I didn't need it to loop. I
You're
didn't
a
need it
piece
to
of
loop.
shit.
I didn't need it to loop.
You're a piece of shit.
Bet online, the world's most trusted betting platform. Your number one source for betting on all the madness. We have an invite out to watch the March Madness games.
Yeah,
and put some bet online bets. You got the invitation also.
I ain't going to be here, so I'm not going.
Well, I won't be there watching the games.
You better go down there.
No, to mix with everybody in the building?
Yeah. So the building sent out an email inviting people to do a watch party for March Madness. I don't know what the time is on Thursday. Well, I kind of would have thought that if they were going to do that, they should have done it last week, but all of a sudden there's now this big, basketball. Everybody's a big basketball fan in the building.
The hoopla.
Yeah. So I think that you should go down there, and I think that you should do it for real. Actually place like a $400 or $500 bet and go down there and just make a complete, utter frustrated scene down there. Like a complete
I'll be that guy.
Yeah, just be a complete animal to reacting to everything that's happening because your bet's not going to.
God, I had this line. I got it at Bet Online. And where'd you take your bet? Oh, not at Bet Online. Screw it. I could
There's
lash
some
out.
families down there. I think you need to scare everybody.
Sign the kid up for Bet Online. I don't care. From every Cinderella story to every hat trick, Bet Online has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. That's not how I operate. I don't operate like that, by the way. Watching with a big group of people. You have actually made me more of a sports bar guy since living in this apartment with you.
Really?
I loathe going to sports bars and sitting with the masses. I want to sit on my couch. I want to watch the TV with my TV. I want to have water that I can just access right there.
Yeah, but the advantage of going to the bar, you can keep ordering drinks and you can get food. I would have thought you would have been pro sports bar.
No, I am not pro sports bar. I don't want to. I'm pro sports bar for games that I don't care about. I'm pro TVs in the bar.
Oh, I agree with that. I couldn't watch a Notre Dame game. If the Giants were actually competitive, I couldn't watch a Giants game.
No.
Out at a bar.
Wouldn't do it. Wouldn't dare do it. Can't do it. But you have brought me out into the madness, and I won't forgive you for it. But I will forgive you for helping spread the love of Bet Online. The game starts here.
That was an interesting way to end that.
Well, Reed was all over the place today.
Sean, the Giants signed Russell Wilson to a 1-year deal. They have produced one of the stupidest, most directionless off seasons I have ever seen for a team needing a quarterback. It all started with the New York Giants beating the Indianapolis Colts at the end of the season in a meaningless game to knock them out of playoff contention and to move the Giants out of the first overall pick and effectively, eventually, landing them the 3rd overall selection. They're out of the Cam Ward sweepstakes. They can't even call themselves in the Shedeur Sanders sweepstakes. Now here they are. They signed Jameis Winston. At least that was a meme. At least we talked about, hey, he's going to throw a bunch of interceptions. He's going to take him out of football games. This is something. Now they've got Russell Wilson, who's the complete opposite end of the spectrum of timidness, who didn't perform well down the stretch, played awful in the playoffs against the Ravens. is nowhere near the same level of guy. I'm so pissed off at the amount of tweets that were, former Super Bowl winning quarterback Russell Wilson. That was years ago.
Is that not factual?
It is, but it's years ago. Years ago. That doesn't count.
What do you mean?
He's not the same player that he was when they won Super Bowls.
I mean, that's concrete on his resume. He is.
It's on the
Super Bowl
resume.
champion.
It's on the resume, but it doesn't. It has no current correlation. He's not that same level of player.
He was one play call away from
Okay.
a 2-time Super Bowl champion. Okay. So
My whole problem with all of this is that I don't know what they're trying to do. This feels so panicked. This feels so desperate. And I think this is a strong indication. We'll get to in a little bit what the Browns are going to do, but this feels like a really strong indication that the Giants are effed and they know that they're effed.
I think you guys are in win now mode, which is refreshing. It's good to see you guys making some serious plays in the offseason and signing not one, but two good quarterbacks in Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson. Is Russell Wilson 2015 Russell Wilson? No, far from it. But why would you sign two guys for all this money to come compete with each other in a QB battle if you didn't think one of them could lead you to the playoffs? Why would you do it? Why would you give Russell Wilson guaranteed money exceeding $10 million if you weren't trying to win now? So this is a tone setter for me. This says we're going to have these two jackasses, and said lovingly, because I love Russell Wilson. I love Jameis Winston. We're going to have these two guys. We're going to pay them a bunch of money for a QB competition to reignite the spirit of New York Giants football. And that's going to be with a bunch of interceptions. It's going to be with 500 quarterback play. And it's going to be a lot of running the rock. And I think that they're getting back to their true standard and not, half-assing it. Like, we're going to go all in and get ourselves another Eli Manning. And that's what you're going to get with the performance of whoever is starting this year for between Russell Wilson or Jameis Winston. Late career Eli Manning. They're getting back to the blueprint. What made them great.
The other big problem with this, and the big issue that I have with this, Sean, with Jameis, it was like, okay, there's not many good options. You're kind of just leaning into it. Maybe they thought that they could still get Shedeur Sanders, whatever it was. Now you have Russell Wilson, and now Brian Daboll and Joe Shane are going to try and produce a winning product. You just said that they're in win now mode. You said that in jest, but they think that they are. Brian Daboll thinks that he might not think that they are in win now mode, but they have to approach this like they're in win now mode. Because if they don't show some sign of progression or improvement, they don't get to the playoffs and they weren't able to draft the quarterback, they're both getting fired. They're both done. They're both out. So now, because they're fighting for their lives instead of a first-year GM and a first-year head coach that are just mailing it in and trying to accumulate young talent and to start from scratch and rebuild the foundation, they're going to go on and win 7 games. And when they go on and win 6-7 games, meaningless games, 7's actually probably high, 5 to 6 games, 6 might even be high.
4 to 5.
They're going to push themselves. No. You got Russell Wilson. They're going to win at least 5 to 6 games. But that's what I'm getting at here, is that he's going to have a couple of really good performances, and everyone's going to be talking about how Russell Wilson's back. He's back to what he once was. Look how good he is. Maybe they can go on a playoff run.
Sure.
And just like we did last year, reality comes crashing down that he's not the same athlete. So if they win 5 to 6 games, they are out of the mix to pick in the top 2 again. And I can't do this anymore. I can't.
I bet you can.
It's another 2 years that because we're going to go through the whole season next year. They're not going to draft a quarterback.
Nope.
They're not going to be in a position to draft a quarterback. And then we got to start all over again with a new front office. And then that following draft class, maybe that'll be the year that they draft a quarterback. It's going to be 20 years from now by the time that they actually draft somebody.
Hopefully. Here's my here's why your team front office, the Giants front office, is so dumb. Cam Ward yesterday had a fantastic pro day. He had an excellent pro day. There was rave reviews. And I brought up this Tennessee plan yesterday as well. And it is that they saw the pro day. They have the number 1 overall pick. And they made the declarative statement that this is our guy. This is going to be like the reporters are saying that this is going to happen.
They brought the Titans television and media crew. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Just off the spur of like, hey, you never know. They brought that because they're recording his pro day for a reason.
They're setting up the play of you're not going to be able to get him from us. You don't even try throwing us a big offer. Don't even attempt doing it. Our phone line's off. Whereas all of the previous discussions about the number 1 overall pick, it's been, the phone line's kind of open. Why don't you hop on a call? The Giants saw that and didn't even think of coming up with a creative offer. They signed Russell Wilson instead because they wouldn't have the balls to make a pitch to get the number 1 overall pick and Cam Ward from Tennessee. I think Tennessee was playing chess to try to bait out a rube and a sucker to give them 3 first-round picks for that number 1 overall pick this year. And the Giants took the bait and said, well, we can't negotiate with them. That's what Tennessee said. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sign Russell Wilson, and I'm going to give him a potential $21 million contract and just $10 million for being Russell Wilson also. Confusing to me.
So Josina Anderson tweeted about this, but it was more in relation to the Browns. I don't think the Titans are moving off. I think that Schefter had reported that they're possibly considering trading, but it would require like the perfect deal to move back, meaning it would probably have to be a historic amount of capital.
Give them Jameson Russ and a couple first rounders.
Yeah,
now
a couple of first rounders to move up 2 spots already is insane. Schefter had reported, though, that they require a big deal. And just Josina Anderson tweeted yesterday, on the flip side, with Jameis Winston already on the roster at his cost in the upcoming draft, it feels like a panic move by the Giants, especially given what I heard today regarding one team's current view that Cleveland sounds potentially open to trading back. So I think that if anyone suckered them, it was the Browns. I think that the Browns are suckering them into thinking that there's some overly expensive deal to move up 1 spot that they're unwilling to give up, and they just freaked out and they said, "F it, we're just gonna go get Russ. We're just gonna sign him. We're gonna do something with Russ. We're gonna build around Russ." I think that there definitely was panic. I just don't think it was the Titans.
I think the Titans set it up and they wanted to have that tweet put out about how it would have to be the perfect deal. And the Giants said, well, we're incompetent. We could never give the perfect deal. Let's panic and sign Russell Wilson. How is it you are getting duped by the Browns? The Browns got duped by maybe the all-time dupage of an NFL history with Deshaun Watson. And somehow they're outmaneuvering the New York Football Giants. It's baffling. I give you a lot of respect because I have not seen a personal crash out from you yet. You're holding it together pretty well as a fan.
I've dissociated years ago. I dissociated when they signed Daniel Jones to an extension.
Right then and there.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
It was over the second that they signed an extension.
Where were you? Because people were asking me, where were you when you got the news of the Russell Wilson?
I was on the I'm forgetting the name of the highway. I was going 85.
Were you on the turnpike?
Yes, whatever that 2-lane turnpike is. It was going 85. And I was tweeting while I was driving.
Nice, very nice. Well, BMW drivers aren't known to do that often. So,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Way to
should be playing for Georgia. University of Georgia.
Wow.
Like nobody else speeds. Nobody else drives recklessly. That was me yesterday.
Did I tell? I can't.
What?
I've got it. I'll tell you after the show.
Okay.
It's just a content pitch.
Yeah, no, I was not in good spirits yesterday. I was it was kind of one of those reactions where I was just the minute I read it, I'm like, of course they did. Of course. This makes no sense. This is illogical. You just signed a guy to a 2-year deal, a cheap 2-year deal that made sense. And then now you're signing the likely starter to a 1-year, $20+ million deal. Are you trying to create a competition? Do you actually think that there's going to be some sort of result produced by this? Do you think that there's anything left to be had with Russell Wilson?
No, there's no meat on that bone.
No.
And everyone knows there's no meat on the bone. I cannot believe you didn't pull over to go box somebody yesterday. I remember the morning like it was yesterday, driving into work at Sirius in DC. I was 9:20 and I was listening to the news break on the radio. Driving on the Parkway, I had to pull off on the Potomac, right on the side of the Potomac, and throw rocks into the river. I was so frustrated, and I knew he was leaving.
Done.
And I knew he
done
was
already, though. I don't know why you were
because
so...
it hurt. Because it hurt me, and I had to get it out of my system.
It had to be done at some point.
I'm just letting you know, when you explode eventually, because your disassociation is the right move, and I think it's the best move as a man. But you're still bottling it, and it's still getting pressure compacted, cooked in your body. Don't let it out on me. Don't you think about doing it.
I'll gladly let it out on you. Don't tell me where to put it.
When you start exploding, don't start getting vengeful.
I'll explode all over you.
And you're going to regret how that came out. Look, don't take it out on me, man.
I'll do whatever I want.
Okay.
I also threw this out there. They should just sign Aaron Rodgers at this point.
Why not?
Seriously. You can create the stupidest group of idiots, all just moronic, awful personalities, and draft Quinn Ewers too. You could end up with the biggest collection of dipshits and morons. You also have Tommy DeVito. It would be a Four Stooges quarterback room that you would have if you were able to get all four of those guys. I'm all for it. If we're going to be this awful and this illogical and just dumb and dipshit, absolute ass, let's lean into it. Let's just collect all the morons, all the idiots, all the shit quarterbacks who aren't good. Who else? Quinn Ewers. Give me Will Howard. Let's draft Will Howard and Quinn Ewers. Both of them. They'd both be great.
Do you want Gardner Minshew to come in and play a flex QB role maybe?
No, he's actually kind of good.
He's too competent for the New York Giants?
He's too competent for this quarterback room that we're building.
I'll say this. I'd watch every second of that reality show if it was just the Giants quarterback room with Aaron Rodgers and Quinn Ewers and that whole group. I would live tweet it. I would be all super invested in it. I hope you guys get Hard Knocks. I hope you guys get as many cameras on.
I don't think that they're going to get Hard Knocks again. After the
take
whole
the Amazon
Prime
and take the Amazon Prime in-season Hard Knocks. Take anything. Start the New York Giants in-season production and give away your game plans. Also, I'm hoping to get as much out of this Giants team as I can, enjoyment-wise. Signing Russell Wilson after signing Jameis Winston within the same week is a great first step at that. You're going to be a clown show. I hope you carry a good amount of shame with you for somewhat supporting this franchise. And it's embarrassing. And I hope you're embarrassed at some of the conversations we had back in college when they were just slowly steeping into obscurity and getting away from relevance.
Also, Ryan is upset with me saying that Gardner Minshew is better than Russell Wilson.
There's levels. Minshew at his decline is not declining from such a high peak, so it's a different gauge level.
Russell Wilson went to the playoffs with one of a top 3 defense in the NFL last year. Gardner Minshew took a Colts team to the playoffs that was good, but I don't think anybody really thought that they were as dominant defensively as the Steelers were, or some powerhouse.
Here's the thing.
Minshew has been, in the past 3 years, Minshew has been better than Russell Wilson. They're both bad. They're both not good starting quarterbacks, but he's been better.
I'd be equally angry with having both of them, but if we're being honest, Minshew's been pretty shit throughout his career. He has been fun and exciting and made plays happen out of nowhere, but he has never come close to half the peak that Russell Wilson has had in the NFL.
It's not an idiotic take.
They're
Ryan.
both awful right now. They're both awful right now, and I might rather have Minshew for the contract.
Am I misremembering? Am I crazy here? Minshew took a Colts team, went to the playoffs with that Colts team, correct?
Did he get injured before, and then that's when Flacco took over?
No, wait. Why am I? What was?
I think the Raiders signing Gardner Minshew last year.
Did they miss the playoffs that year?
Was a dumber move. It might have been.
They were 9-8. They just missed the playoffs.
Well, you had them there.
They were still in playoff contention, though.
That was the year that Jonathan Taylor was sitting out for the first half of the season because of his back, and he was having issues with the team. And Gardner Minshew was giving him the cold shoulder as a backup, and then he might have came in after Carson Wentz. That might have been the situation.
That's a completely different.
I thought that all happened the same year, where it was Wentz, Minshew.
Flacco. Okay, now we're just saying a whole bunch of nothing. Flacco was on the team last year. He wasn't on the team prior to that.
I thought he was on the Colts twice now.
Okay, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole of just saying wrong shit, because then we start opening. Look, the whole point is Gardner Minshew and Russell Wilson are both bad. Okay, I don't think that Russell Wilson is a capable, good starter. Why are you making that face? Did you figure out if Joe Flacco played for the Colts or not?
I'm completely incorrect. Yeah.
Yeah, you are incorrect.
Super incorrect. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I thought he was on there twice.
All right, let's get to Stefon Diggs. It was reported yesterday, right after the Russell Wilson deal, that Stefon Diggs signed a 3-year, $69 million deal with the New England Patriots. 32 years old, only $26 million of that are guaranteed. I kind of feel like this is a little bit of an overpay. It's a lot of money. I know not much of it's guaranteed, but a 32-year-old receiver being signed to a 3-year deal, I don't think there's anything left on the bone here. Like, I really don't. I don't think that Stefon Diggs is anywhere close to the same level of receiver that he once was. I know that he went down with an ACL injury, but we're talking about a 32-year-old receiver coming off of a knee injury. This is a option in an offense. This is not suddenly your number one option. I don't think that the Patriots need to rush this as much as spending all this money on Stefon Diggs.
Well, as a Diggs truther, I will note that last year was his first year since 2018 without 1,000 yards receiving in a season. His production has been fantastic. Last year was the first year since 2020 without 100 catches, and he still had 50, or 47 rather, if we're going to be exact. It was going to be a good year for Stefon Diggs. It was going to be a career average year for Stefon Diggs where he stays on pace, and he's gone from Josh Allen to CJ Stroud and now going to Drake May. So I would maybe factor in some more young, not as experienced quarterback could depreciate some of the numbers. But as a whole, 1 year does not indicate a sharp decline for Stefon Diggs. I would predict he gets them 80 catches, 70 catches.
No.
He could.
He's 32 coming off of a knee
Tyreek
injury.
Hill is in his 30s. Devontae Adams had great seasons in his 30s.
Okay, he's 30. You named two guys. There is a very
rare first two that I thought of.
How old was Julio when he was cut and he moved on to the Titans?
I think he was 33, I believe.
Receivers very rarely, once they get past the age of 31, 32, end up having productive seasons. Tyreek Hill is an exception because he's so freaking fast. Devontae Adams, I think, has been good, but I just don't know if him with the Rams, how much runway of success that really has. I don't want to pay this much money to a guy who's 32 years old. I think if he shows up and you get 50 catches out of him over the next 2 seasons and then you cut him the third year because there's some little amount of money that's guaranteed, that's all you can expect from this. But I don't want Patriots fans to believe that there is some high ceiling to Stefon Diggs. There's not. This is not going to be, here's an immediate 1,000-yard guy. I was reading an article that made it seem like it was a great, this great expectation that he was going to be very productive with them.
Could he have an Adam Thielen season? Adam Thielen in his 30s, 74 catches, 925 yards, 14 touchdowns.
That's fine. Wait, how many catches did he have?
74. That's right in the middle of my 80 and 70.
50 to 70, I think, is the max. 70 is the ceiling.
Devontae over 30, 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns. Mike Evans over 30.
How old was Devontae when he did that?
This is last year's stats.
Okay.
Mike Evans, 1,213 touchdowns. So seeing these guys in their 30s still be able to be productive, I think Stefon Diggs is in that echelon, and he's not in the...
These guys weren't coming off of ACL injuries, though.
Yeah, but he's not in the Sterling Shepard camp. He's not in the Mac Hollins camp. He's in an elevated level above that. Cooper Kupp is coming off of injury. You think Cooper Kupp is going to have a diminished year?
Yes. I don't think that Cooper Kupp's production is going to be through the roof.
I bet Stefon Diggs is as good as Cooper Kupp this upcoming season. I bet they're very similar in their production.
Yeah,
I bet
I'm sure they could both go under 1,000 yards.
God, no, I think they impact. I think they're both massive pieces. Cooper Kupp's going to be massive for Seattle.
You actually like the Stefon Diggs signing?
Yes, I do. Having a veteran receiver for a young quarterback, and who are the other receivers that Drake May is messing around with? Pop Douglas, Kendrick Bourne. Who's the tight end in New England?
Baker, Jalen Polk, who were two guys.
Oh, does that make me perk up at all?
They were rookies last year. Rookie receivers don't always.
They were bad last year. It does. They don't perk me at all.
Rookie receivers don't always have immediate massive impacts. They don't. It is a misconception that guys have to come in, not even first round picks, have to immediately come in and have huge first seasons. Not everybody's built like that.
I'd say rookie wide receiver. Well, you're hating on them when they're rookies, and you're hating on them when they're in their 30s here. So I guess why I see the skew.
Age, 32 years old is old.
I don't know what your pocket is. It seems to be a 27-year-old receiver, and then you probably don't want to pay them because they're going to be 30 soon. I think Stefon Diggs is going to be a fantastic addition for the team. And then
fantastic just seems a little bit too congratulatory.
Who else do they have? They needed a weapon. Who else were they going to get?
This is my whole point, though. You're making moves out of desperation.
They are desperate. They were desperate at the start of free agency, and they waited to weigh the options and got Stefon Diggs after. They didn't overpay for Christian Kirk.
They don't need to pay.
Houston took Christian Kirk.
They don't. Well, Christian Kirk was also a shit move by the Texans.
Well, they had an awful offseason. Yes.
Yeah. You don't have to, at the current moment, rush things to produce immediate success. Them building around Drake May is a multi-year process. Building through the draft is how they get there. And then next offseason is probably the offseason to go spend money on a receiver.
It can't always be a next year, and I don't think Mike Vrabel thinks that way. I think it's always maximize 100%, 110%. What can we get out this year? And I think he's going to do that. Adding Stefon Diggs is a step closer to that 100%. He doesn't feel like hey, let's just wait it out and build. Let's just wait and wait and wait. When you wait, you wait for ideal circumstances, the truth about life is there's no such thing as an ideal circumstance. So you might as well make a play when you can, and they made a better play than a lot of teams this offseason.
Spending that much money on a
Pro Bowl wide receiver,
32-year-old wide receiver coming off of an ACL injury. I don't think that this screams.
He's a route god. He's not a burner. He's a route god.
Well, but I would argue though that if you're now suddenly, he's less explosive by age, and he's also less explosive by the fact that he's coming off the ACL injury at this age. That is going to decrease the amount of separation that he normally creates. Mike Evans is still successful because he is a catch point guy. He's a big, strong catch point guy. Devontae Adams, big, strong catch point guy. Tyreek Hill has been an exception, a rarity for a player who is still maybe not as fast as he once was, but still incredibly fast. And he is slowly going to start to slow down more and more. I get legitimately worried, a guy who is such a great route runner, if he's going to be able to create that same level of separation, breaking in and out of his cuts.
Larry Fitz was a catch point guy for his whole career and then transitioned into a route god with Warner. All right. So I don't love, I will hesitate tremendously from comparing Larry Fitzgerald and Stefon Diggs.
Good.
I will do that. But in this instance, in age and the conversion of receiver typings, I've seen this change happen. You've seen it happen, man. He's good enough to stay around in the league and make an impact. He's not one of these guys that floats and floats and floats. This isn't, he didn't go to Tennessee. He didn't go to somewhere with a shit quarterback. He went somewhere that has a promising young quarterback. That helps. It's not, he didn't go to the Titans where receivers go to die. He's not following the Ridley Hopkins Julio pathway. He wouldn't do that. He's Stefon Diggs. He's given himself a fighting chance. This makes the Patriots better. It immediately makes them better.
It obviously makes them better because they didn't have any options. But if he goes over 1,000 yards, I'd be completely shocked.
I'm not saying he's going to go over 1,000 yards. You cut me off at my initial pitch was going to be 80, 906. And that's a great year
80
for him.
is a lot of catches, though, for... So you're assuming that
I'd rather him have the ball than Ramondre Stevenson most of the time. And I hope that the Patriots draft a running back and move on from him.
Why don't you like Ramondre?
I think he's a dud. He's unexciting. I don't think he's productive. He puts the ball on the turf too much. I'm out on him. I want the Patriots to air it out or draft Gene-T. Go ahead. Draft a good running back.
Well, that's a bad take. Then taking Gene-T at 4th overall.
Make something happen.
Okay. With no offensive line. All right, let's talk about this fake Browns report that came out today. Bruce Drennan, who I've never heard of before, doesn't have a very big social following. Some old dude who on his podcast on Big Play Network in Cleveland, he came out saying that the reason why Myles Garrett came back was because that the team is actively trying to trade for Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott has a no trade clause. I would assume that Dak Prescott isn't stupid enough to say, yeah, I'd love to go play in Cleveland. I don't understand this. I mean, like, let's entertain it for a quick second here. Would this even logically make sense for either side? What the hell would Dallas get in return? The 2nd overall pick and they draft Shedeur Sanders? Like, what is the play here?
You know, I hadn't considered that last part, but it could be a quick exodus of Schlappenheimer, bring in DeLeone, bring in Shedeur, new era.
Okay, they're definitely doing all that.
Jerry, goes out on one last big swing. Like that's the only logical, it doesn't sound logical, but it's the only logical reasoning I could think of for why Dak Prescott would be on the move from Dallas after they made a big fuss about paying him on the day of week 1 last season. Like it has not been we have not come a full calendar year of Dak Prescott on his new contract. And we're already getting reports of some I don't know if rube is the right word. Well, how would you describe this? Because a guy that you haven't heard of making a claim that's so outlandish. Like, what is the descriptor here for this gentleman?
All right. Well, we did a quick little Wikipedia deep dive. So he's a MLB broadcaster and a former radio guy in Cleveland. Under arrest on his Wikipedia page in 2004, Drennan's home in Strongville, Ohio, was raided by FBI and IRS agents as a part of a sports gambling investigation. He subsequently lost his job because of the investigation and served as a host on an online station. In 2006, Drennan was charged with 2 counts of filing false tax returns. He later agreed to a plea bargain and served 5 months in federal prison. What are we doing?
This actually makes me believe him more.
What?
I'm actually turning around on him very quickly. I think
because he committed tax fraud and tried to.
If he is getting caught up in a bad gambling ring in the early 2000s, that means you were pretty plugged in. You might have had some real inside skinny to go all in and get bagged up enough pre-big time internet where everyone could track you. That means you were a big shark in some facet, whether it was information, whether it was the amount you were gambling on, and that brings other big sharks around that have information. I am actually not putting the report past this guy anymore. I'm not calling him a rube. I will call him an eccentric. This eccentric is making claims that make me excited about the possibility of Dak getting a fresh start, the Cowboys getting a fresh start, and the Browns getting a fresh start, all in one fell swoop. Because this season determines a lot about the Dak Prescott project, experiment, extension in Dallas. How much longer are we willing to go with this guy if he produces a mediocre result this year? That's what people in Dallas are going to be saying. That's what they've said the past couple of years already, even with the injuries, even with the stellar seasons that he's had. The Browns need a quarterback desperately. They've needed one for 20 years. Let him get what's the word? It's the era of the quarterback coming back from a downfall. It's not resurgent, the era of resurgence. There's a better term for it. The revival,
Sure.
The redemption. It's the era of redemption at the quarterback position. So if that goes out there, stinks it up, goes to Cleveland, I would be fired up.
So first of all, to just like entertain this for a second, like you were just doing. I'm not for it. I don't think that this makes any sense. Dak's better off riding into the sunset in Dallas. I think that he probably will.
With what, though? What is he ever going to get in Dallas?
It doesn't matter if they don't win a Super Bowl. He goes on to live the rest of his life as a longtime starting quarterback for the Cowboys. Look what that did for Tony Romo. Tony Romo's relevant because he was the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys as long as he was. Never won a Super Bowl. Dak will probably never win a Super Bowl with the Cowboys, but at the very least, he's going to make boatloads of money off of all the deals and sponsorships that he gets paid for. And again, just going down in the history of one of the most well-liked and regarded franchises in sports. I don't think that Cleveland, this gets them very far. I think that they've got other positions of need, and I think that this would be extremely impulsive, knowing what just happened with Deshaun Watson after you just traded a shitload away and how much it screwed you over when things didn't come to fruition. You have to go the safe play. A safe play is drafting a quarterback second overall and hoping you can build around him and being patient, getting him on the field. To go back to Drennan, because I mean, I'm sucked in now. Drennan was sentenced after pleading guilty for failing to pay between $12,000 and $3,000 in taxes on gambling winnings. So it sounds like I'm trying to figure.
At least he was a winner. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
If you won enough to need to fill out tax paperwork for, good for you, Drennan. Happy for him. And I would prefer Cleveland dig in the box because you've been playing some of the MLB The Show, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So in baseball, and I know we can't spend time digesting how you operate in MLB The Show because it's ludicrous. But in baseball, if you bite bad on a curveball, right, and you look foolish and you swing and miss real bad, like what the Browns did with Deshaun Watson, you dig into that box. You dig real deep with that back right foot, and you get real planted because you just swung and looked silly and your helmet almost came off and you almost fell down because you wanted to crank it out of the park. So you dig that foot in and you don't move. And I think when you dig in for the Browns, that's exploring the possibility of a Dak Prescott to Cleveland move and how we could make it happen. That's what I'd like to see them dig in.
I have to keep coming back to this article because this thing just keeps producing gems. I'm sorry. He in 2004 were the first time that the feds showed up. $1,000 in cash was seized and a revolver as well as his computer. One of his quotes on why he was arrested. Unlike 95% of the guys who bet and lose, I won, and that's what attracted the feds.
This guy's this guy, you know what? I'm taking stock. I am flipping around.
Oh my God.
That he's the one dentist that doesn't want you using the toothpaste. He's the one guy that's actually got the key to it all. He's got the source. He may even be the source. The per sources, it may all be coming out of him.
I think he just made it up.
He definitely could have just made this thing up because, gamblers, they love the attention and they like being in the mix. They hate not being in the mix with any action. So if he could give himself some action with a ridiculous claim like this, that's fantastic. But he's been around the block more than I thought he was. If he was just some radio jock that goes and does middays in Cleveland and just chops wood and doesn't make a big to do about anything and just likes going in, punching the time card, doing the reads, yuck, I wouldn't buy into it at all. This guy, underbelly. This guy, somewhat connected and noted winner.
Last one. Guess what the name of his show was when they brought so after all this happens, he goes to federal prison. He comes back and he's now, he gets opportunities to get back into media. Guess what the name of his first show was back?
What's his name again?
Bruce Drennan.
Unlocked with Bruce Drennan.
All bets are off with Bruce Drennan. Whose idea was that? Whose idea was, hey, buddy, two times. This is not real. This is not real. Hey, this guy, Bruce is great. We love his stuff. It was so brutal what happened to him. It was such BS. He went to jail for not filing winnings on his bets.
This is great lore.
And somebody pitched, let's call it All Bets Are Off.
Yeah, lead into it. Dig in. I'm Bruce Drennan, a super fan number one.
Funny.
This guy's got balls. He's got balls to make fun of himself. He's got balls to go to prison. He's got balls to not do his taxes. This is a guy that is not conforming to the narrative. And I genuinely think he might start having the key soon. I'm going to track him. I follow him.
Are you, you'd never have to do your taxes for betting because you don't make any money.
No,
right?
I'm not even close.
Yeah,
are you
loser,
kidding me?
Asshole.
Are you doing taxing?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
I just had to point out that you're not.
Great. So we're both in the same sinking boat, but the hole is a little bit closer to my side, and you want to point that out.
Yes.
Okay. You're a bad person. You're just a bad person through and through.
All right. Ryan Roberts texted us earlier and wanted to create scouting reports for the both of us. Quite literally, he wanted to write out a report on our physical profiles and our character profiles as if we were NFL draft prospects. We obliged and we said we would read them on the show, and he sent them to us pretty quickly. So much for him being a grinder. He claims he's so busy all the time, and he had time to put. There's a lot of detail in these.
He had an hour that he could just carve out time to do it do shtick. All right.
Yeah. No. All right. I'm going to read yours first. So this is what Ryan Roberts is. Ryan, can you text me a grade for Sean Anderson? Sean is a bulbous offensive tackle, already off to a hot start, that might be better moving inside on the next level. Unfortunately, he's stiff through the hips, which affects his ability to play with good pad level. He walks like a duck and lacks the ankle flexibility to be left on an island. Sean's taste in women suggests a lack of confidence that may affect, as we got personal, that might affect his ability to stick on a roster. His quality of humor could make him a nice addition to a practice squad. I don't think that makes him worth anything, as well as bringing some laughs during the rookie show. That was a little too nice at the end. I didn't like how nice that was. I would agree on the character concerns on Sean's taste in women, knowing the women that Sean has dated.
I disclosed too much to RR at the Green Turtle. I obviously did.
Well, you had two buckets, so that's what.
You know what? I had a bucket. I had a personal bucket and a table bucket. Everyone dipped into that.
The table bucket was your second personal bucket, so that one.
It was nice. Both were both were wide open to the table. I was happy to buy buckets.
By the way, that's bullshit. Don't do it. Claiming that you ordered a second table bucket and then drinking 4 out of the 5 beers does not make it a table
Oh,
bucket.
I drank all 5 of the last one.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
the first one, you
the
had
first
4
one,
out of the 5.
No, first one I had 3.
I only had 1. So then who had the other one?
One of Ryan's friends.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Okay.
Maybe not.
You had 4.
Yeah, I think I might have had 4.
Yeah, you had 4.
Okay, here's what hurts about the Ryan scouting report. The ankle flexibility, that hurts. I don't have athletic ankles. They're stiff. They're like 2x4s. They don't get hurt. I've got very strong ankles. The being left out on island, though, that change of direction, going back inside, constantly beat on the inside. So that hurts. Can I hear, what was bulbous, that's fine.
That was mean right off the bat.
Did he have anything about foot speed?
I think it was implied with your lack of ankle flexibility.
Okay, foot speed's real bad.
You said that, where was it?
What about the measurables?
Oh, you have poor pad level.
That's true. Pad level was always
Too
tough.
high.
Too high for sure. What about the lower body? Got a big NFL ass. I got big NFL thighs. Obviously, the composition now is different. But
Ryan doesn't value your bulbous frame apparently very highly.
That's fine. I guess I'm not flexible enough for RR. Do we want to get to your scouting report?
I'm afraid to. Yeah, go ahead.
Joe is a smaller long snapper who has trouble keeping on good weight.
That was actually true.
The first of mine were true also.
That was disturbingly true in college because every time I put on weight, I got fat. Okay.
He's obsessive over his looks and may lack the focus of a team and trends more towards the artificial, and that selfish nature could be negative to the room. You didn't get along with the special teams room all the time either.
That was true. Yeah, but it was because I was detail-oriented and our kicker was high every day at practice.
Okay, well, now that's I think that's throwing some information out there.
I don't give a shit.
Okay, so your selfish nature is now flaring up right now because you're deflecting onto others. Well, that's damning. In his career, he had more personal fouls and tackles, once again showing his selfishness and disregard for the team.
I was hit late on both of those occurrences.
There is a serious lack.
No one defended me, by the way,
because the long snapper never is supposed to get penalized ever. There is a serious lack of swag.
Started a brawl.
You did. There's a serious.
No one started. There was a fight and then the play ended. That was.
What about in the Merrimack? Didn't we fight after Merrimack?
No, there was no fight.
I think we might have fought after Merrimack.
After the
game, the game where you had the penalty. I think we also fought in that game afterwards.
I don't remember that.
It
definitely wasn't about me. I think it was about. I think Rashad Dickerson probably got into a fight with.
Rashad Rice really liked going to get into fights.
I don't think anyone was like, man, we gotta defend Joe. No, we gotta get them back for Joe.
Yeah, but you know that's a little bit. You weren't dealing with the only scumbag of the team here. All right.
Okay.
There's a serious lack of swag, thinking that a headband looks appropriate on a long snapper. Joe is.
How do you know I was wearing a headband?
Because it was a bad look. Joe,
I did it for functionality. I had to keep the hair out of my face.
Then cut the hair.
No.
Okay, so then you have to deal with the lack of swag then and the headband. But this is Ryan's analysis here. Joe is a try-hard overachiever that is consistent on his snaps. If his playing career doesn't work out, he might have a future in the booth.
Okay, see, I don't like that he threw these nice little quips at the end. I don't like these nice little quips. Yeah.
He's being real with the first 5 sentences.
It's just mean. Let's throw a little nice quip in there.
I could tell a locker room joke. I can rip one real loud and make the fellas laugh and hearty har.
Yeah, I don't like it. We need a grade. I don't think he's still tuning in.
It would be in RR fashion to tune out during his segment.
Right. Exactly.
Opens up the discourse today. Have we done? Did I miss the scouting reports? And then scouting reports time. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, that was going to be opening segment apparently.
Yeah, we're not opening. That's not A block. This is fun slice of life C block. All right. I mean, accurate. It's a fine scouting report, but God, I really hate to read the ones of guys he doesn't like.
They're not friendly.
I wouldn't assume so.
Do we have any voicemails before we hop into the hack bag?
We have Twitter questions today.
Just Twitter questions, no voicemails?
Everybody can feel free.
Get on it.
Feel free to
get on it.
Voicemail.
Call the damn line.
201-834-4308. We've had a great string of voicemails recently. We'd like to keep it up. You can call us about whatever you want to talk about.
Anything. We'll play anything.
It's
anything.
It's an open line.
Anything. There's no restrictions. Nothing is off limits. We can bleep things. If someone sends us something that's so appalling, we'll just bleep most of it and we'll play
If
it.
you think you're more worried about you being protected, you're not even close to understanding the show and the vetting process that me and DeLeone go through. You will be fine. I don't know. Call funny stories.
201-834-4308.
All right. Well, let's answer some questions from the good people anyways, because we like to do that regardless.
The mail never stops.
This is the Hack Bag. Hit us on Twitter for questions or call at 201-834-4308.
We should get a fax machine, by the way. Steve brought up he brought that up a while ago, that the fax machine was on the table. I think that the fax machine still would be a good idea.
Steve's being a goose, but the fax machine sound is much more fun of a sound to have in the background than a printing sound. The printer sound is an insidious whir of scans and just very quick, unpleasurable jolts. The fax machine, I like that.
I think that would be a good bit if midway through the show the fax machine went off and then we would just have to read a question if somebody sent in a fax. That actually might be incredibly creative.
I like the idea of a fax machine now. Thank you, Steve.
All right, what's the first question? Are you reading it?
I'll read these. I'll handle the hack bag. You set up the other topics. I'll take this one off your plate here.
Okay, I'm also going to look up how much a fax machine is.
Are Sean and I on speaking terms again? Question from longtime listener Rack. Officially, yes, Rack. You as of today have reached your 2-week suspension end and are unblocked on X, Twitter, and we are on speaking terms again. Let it be known, you can lose it real quick again. And I know you're going to try to push your luck and push the envelope. Don't. And let's just all be happy and cordial and fun. That is my plan, but we are on speaking terms. Second question from Rack.
Oh, I don't get to address that?
Would you like to?
No.
Okay. Second question.
But this is $150, this fax machine.
That one looks like it's going to be quiet, though.
I wonder if there's like a video attached.
We have to find one that's actually like an old school fax that makes a bunch of noise.
So you think we should go and buy like a used one? There's got to be some.
Would be cheaper. I need to find a fax machine,
like an old school.
An old school that could just be off mic making a bunch of fax noises.
There's got to be a video on here.
You're looking at the fax tutorial videos?
Well, so then I can hear what it sounds like. Whatever. $150 though.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Second question. Do you ever test your peeing distance in public restrooms? I know a guy who can go into a bathroom stall and arc his pee over the stall into the toilet into the next stall. He can also stand on the ground and pee up through the net of a basketball hoop. Rack.
That doesn't sound healthy. That sounds like something's wrong.
Rack, one time I almost ruined a 4th of July party with this exact premise by picking a spot on a backyard basketball hoop that was close to a fence, a backyard fence, and saying I could piss from this distance and hit the fence. And it dominated a lot of the fellows to come stand at the spot, fake piss, and stink and say if they could make it or not. I tested this out later in the night. I could not make it. And I was really pissed at myself that I couldn't make it. I didn't.
Wait, why did you ruin the bar? Why did you ruin?
Because it wasn't my backyard. And the hosts were worried about, 30 dudes pissing on their fence in the exact same spot, literally killing every blade of grass underneath their
staining their fence.
Yeah, it's staining the fence. Also dribbling all over the basketball court with piss, not with the basketball. It would have been a mess. That conversation went on for like an hour.
I'm intrigued by this idea though. Going into a men's room, kind of doing like the little kid piss, pull down your pants as far down as possible, and then go stand by the sink and just see if you can reach imagine doing that at a bar. You either get a really good pop or you're going to piss everybody off.
Yeah.
Quite literally piss everybody off. I don't think that I'd be able to make it. You just end up lining up, setting up, and then just pissing in the middle of the bathroom. Everybody just getting pissed off at you.
I think it would be
pissed off. Getting mad at you.
It would be a very funny bit. I'm picturing some of these bar restrooms now. If everyone's waiting in line in the bathroom and there's 3 urinals next to each other. One opens up and you don't walk up to it from the line, but you walk and align yourself with the urinal from the line's distance and start pissing from there. I think that would really get a pop. That'd be great. That'd be actually fun bar humor. As long as you don't piss on the person next to you, because then you'll get
shot.
Yeah, you'll get beat up. You'll get shot. It'll be a end of night. But God, I also huge factor in the pissing and why I couldn't make it to the fence later that night on the 4th. I wasn't fully fledged ready to piss. I was at like 60% ready to go.
Oh yeah, that's got to be.
No, you have to
load
be,
up for hours.
You have to be bursting at the seams ready to piss. And I mean,
yeah, full explosiveness, which is why I'm saying that this doesn't sound healthy, because you're just kind of holding in all that piss, and you're straining your kidneys and your bladder. By the way, Ryan has a PFA grade for you, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I got a reject grade. Fuck you, Ryan. I actually played.
Oh, I'm a big body. I'll get in the mix. I'll grab grass. I'll get rolled over and grab grass.
Whatever that means.
I'll be a PFA D tackle. Put me on the team next to you at the long snapper position. I'll keep you safe.
All right,
I'll throw my head in the mix.
What's the next question?
Is Taysom Hill a freak? Yes.
If we're talking about like not in
both senses.
Yeah, he comes off as freaky.
Why haven't we seen more teams have the Swiss Army knife guy who can play 3 or more positions, including quarterback? That's from Bison Rants.
Over under on the amount of times that Taysom Hill soaked when he was in college.
Oh, I bet he was soaking all the time.
Okay.
King soak.
Good for him. What was that question?
Why haven't we seen more teams have the Swiss Army knife guy who can play 3 or more positions, including quarterback? Well, I'm hoping New England steps up and gets Joe Milton in the mix.
Because it's a stupid premise. That's why more teams don't do this. Because if the guy ends up showing any little bit of success, then you got to pay him to do nothing. It's dumb.
They got their money's worth out of it. The Saints got every dime worth out of Taysom Hill. He was on special teams, a tight end. He beat Atlanta as a quarterback and had rushing touchdown after rushing touchdown. I actually think it's a lost art in the NFL is to have a Swiss Army knife.
It's not an art, because the problem is that he was an awful backup quarterback. He couldn't
won games.
Won games. We saw plenty of him where it was pretty clear that like everybody was saying, and Sean Payton was trying to make it seem like Taysom Hill was the succession plan, and everybody very clearly could see. No,
well, that was real dumb. Yes,
he wasn't good enough to do that. And if you needed him to start for an extended period of time, that defeats the purpose of him being on your roster. So no, I think it's bad roster building. I think naturally in the NFL these days, when you have these big body guys that are actually good, competent quarterbacks, we're in an era where there's actual athletic freaks playing the position. They needed that because Drew Brees was small and not very athletic.
And shit.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure.
Well,
I'm sure.
I love the idea of the Swiss Army guy. I love the idea of players that can do other things. Mohamed Sanu throwing 7 touchdown passes on 7 attempts.
That's fine.
I love that. I love LaDainian Tomlinson being able to get a toss, a pitch to the right, and having the competency to throw a bunch of touchdowns also. The running back pass is spectacular. I love it. The double pass, rotten hell. The swinging gate, rotten hell. The running back pass on a pitch, a quick, here's your one read. You either run for a first down or you throw for a first down. I'm enamored with that. So I hope these teams wise up and say we don't have to limit ourselves to the conventional player positions if we have guys that can do more than that. I would love to see more Taysom Hills emerge, as long as they're not in shit New Orleans scoring touchdowns and running over first-round linebackers.
I hope that happens. God. All right. That's going to be it from us, folks. 201-834-4308. Call in about anything that you want to the Hack Bag. We will be back on Sunday. We're not going tomorrow. I'm going on a little mini vacation. Going to go lose 30 balls and hope I don't break the rental clubs that I'm paying for over the weekend.
It's getting balls deep down there in Florida.
Hell yeah. All right, everybody enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy DeLeone and Hack City Pod. We'll talk to you later.